Everyone, thank you for joining us here tonight. There are a few things that I want to be sure to mention before we get going. And I always tell the students that I write things on the board, and if they could please remind me of the things that I wrote on the board, that would be great. Because sometimes I get going so like, oh, this is great, we get going in. So they're learning, because usually they go like, Mr. Neal, you wrote this on the board. Oh, thank you for reminding me. But there's no board here, so I need to say this before we get started. A huge thank you to Jenny Watson and Kyle Bergeroy, who are taking care of the live streaming. If you, how many of you have watched anything related to a school event online before? Anybody? Cool. So this is going currently streaming live on our YouTube channel, but you can go back later on and watch the video still. So if you're like, ah, that was great, that sounded so wonderful, I want to listen to that again. You can do that. Go to YouTube and type in Maine Central Institute and you can check that out. You can also see our jazz concert and other events from the school that have been live streamed here. So thank you for that. Yeah, let's see. Also, I didn't write this down, but we need to do this because this could become a little bit of an issue as we get going in the program, especially with the choir. This is a technical thing. It's like, wow, but we have some technical issues in this building. TJ, in that corner there's a gray box. Could you grab the lever, the big lever there, and just flip that down to off? And we'll stay warm, don't worry. And sir, could you walk in that gray box and just that lever and flip that down and off? It's just sometimes those blowers can make a little bit of noise when they come on and kind of rattly and kind of, it's just a thing, but it's, are you warm? You warm? Yeah, good. And if you're not, you'll be fine. It'll be like an hour. You'll make it. So, the next thing that I want to do is draw your attention to the art that's on exhibit, both in the entry as you came in, but also off to the side here, there's a table of beautiful ceramic work that the students have made under the teaching of our art teacher, visual art teacher, Patty Aiden. And it's just incredible. Even, to me, it's incredible. I'm not a visual artist. I don't know the process. So a student was explaining to me, I was like, so you like painted this? Oh no, well you did. But, and then she was telling me, and I was like, that's great. Like, that's amazing that they did that work. And the drawings and work in here in the entryway are just fantastic. So you'll have a chance in between the concert band and the concert choir to take a look at that. I want to encourage you to do that. We're going to need a couple of minutes to get the choir warmed up and ready, and then I'll herd you back together like herding cats, and we'll be on our way with the concert choir. So we want to direct your attention to that. Really outstanding work as I looked at it, came in here today. We are going to begin our program with the concert band. Before I begin, I do want to direct your attention to a number of students that auditioned and earned a place in the KD Senior Honors Band for our region. We have, I want to say, if I remember correctly, we had 12 students, 11 or 12 students audition, and 9 out of those students were accepted into the honors band, and a couple of students had fantastically strong auditions, and the cutoff was just like, whoa, that's crazy, and a fantastic job. So all those students that earned KD Honors Band, please stand and be recognized. If you can sit down, except Dylan. Dylan Dunton, we just found out this week, has earned a place in the All-State Music Ensemble for Band in the state of Maine. His audition earned him second trumpet, first chair. He is one of essentially the top 6 trumpet players in the state of Maine as a junior in high school. Had a wonderful audition. There's some things done off the board. I just got to remember what's on the rest of the board for later. We're going to start our concert with the first movement from Christmas music from Bach, the oratorio that he composed. And this first movement, it's really interesting to hear. It's very energetic, but sounds very different from the piece which will follow, which is much more contemporary, written within the last 20 years, or even 15 years. So to hear something that was written, composed over 200 years ago, and then something that was written less than 20 years ago, we're going to compare those very, very strong differences. This is the first movement from Bach's Christmas Oratorio. So we go from that, written in the mid-1700s, to this written in 2010. This is a piece by Robert W. Smith entitled Hadrian's Wall. Thank you very much, Jenna. Hadrian was a Roman emperor, and he visited the British Isles, where the empire had extended to, and upon visiting there, he inspected the countryside and whatnot, and he was very concerned about the Celtic region, and please don't anyone take offense to this, the Celtic region and the barbarians. So, if you have Celtic heritage, this is what the Roman Emperor Hadrian did. He built a wall across the entire country's width, and in doing so, separated that. 5 years ago, this had no relevance really, other than it was a song he did. The music in it is strong and programmatic. It really, you hear elements of Celtic heritage in the pieces. You hear elements of power and of a tension and all of this energy that's really contained within the piece. The work features a number of solo instruments. You'll hear solo flute, and you'll hear solo clarinet, you'll hear a solo saxophone, and the whole piece starts with a beautiful solo saxophone by Michaela Weinstein. This is Hadrian's Wall. The next selection entitled "With Every Winter's Breath." Beautiful composition that was commissioned by a high school band to honor the memory of a student that had passed away. And in the piece, this "With Every Winter's Breath," we talk about the influence of instrumental music to evoke and provoke the feeling of imagery. And in this piece, we talked about, do you hear those figures? What does it sound like? And just the other day, somebody said, oh, it sounds like snowflakes. And so you hear images of winter throughout the piece, and maybe it's a wisp of winter wind, maybe it's more harsh kind of elements of winter, and maybe sometimes it sounds like snowflakes falling down. So a beautiful piece here from, I'm trying to, I blanked out. Randall D. Sandridge, we've done a number of his pieces. Beautiful piece. Before I forget, see again, I don't have the board to help remind me, could I have the soloists from the last piece please stand and be recognized? Thank you, from Hadrian's Wall. Yes, one of them. Thank you. So this is "With Every Winter's Breath." This features, before I forget, solo by Dylan, right on trumpet. There's a trumpet solo. The former student in the band was a trumpet student, and so you'll hear a trumpet theme played a number of times throughout the piece. This is "With Every Winter's Breath." With the next piece, it's a four-movement work, and we have not prepared the entire piece yet. It's a very challenging piece of literature, grade 4 literature, which I generally don't program this early in the year, work more in the second semester. But we have prepared the first movement, and it's entitled Air. And so you hear, even as we heard some sounds recently, and the students were like, it sounded like mosquitoes in the air. You'll hear some buzzing sounds, and you'll hear some elements of air being light, or maybe being kind of foggy or cloudy. And so there's all this kind of goes on in this movement entitled Air. And then we're going to play the fourth movement, which is Fire. And fire, flames, is very random. And you will hear sounds that are, the rhythms sound completely random at times. Our biggest challenge with it, which it's still a work in progress, is that it's written to replicate being random, and when you're trying to do that and not get thrown off by how random it sounds, it's challenging. So when we get to Fire, you're like, I don't know, it just sounds wrong. Don't worry, we are thinking the same thing. So, but we come together, just like fire seems to come together and kind of burn strong. So you'll hear those moments as well. And so we hope you enjoy these two movements from Elements by Brian Balmage's Air and Fire.
It has a lot of heavy kinds of sounds in it as it works through it, and it kind of plods through in that movement entitled Earth. So both of those are coming along nicely, and you know, Fire, as I said, has a lot of really colorful, energetic, random, vibrant kind of sounds. At times, dissonant and kind of like that doesn't sound good, but if you've been burned by fire, it doesn't feel good. Fire.
realize, that just might sounds wrong. It wasn't perfect, but it was a lot closer than you might imagine. And that's been the biggest challenge with that piece is that, you know, we hear music so much that's built on pattern, like pattern. So these students to be reading things that completely break all those rules is why it's so difficult. And even as my mind drifts sometimes, halfway through it, I'm like, why are we doing this right now? And I'm like, because these students really need to be challenged. They really are doing fantastic work. I would be remiss if I didn't thank the other fine music educators in our school system and help to prepare them to get to this point. Marisa Weinstein, Marilyn Buzzy, thank you so much for everything you do. And if you came here and you're like, I thought this was a holiday concert. It is, but I've never really, like with the bands, I've never gone crazy on just holiday music because I really want to put before them music that is seasonal, but also music that just continues to challenge them and help them to grow. So we are going to close the concert band portion of the program with George Frederick Handel's Joy to the World, and we hope you enjoy this. You can sing along if you like on the closing section. You're more than welcome to, just do it in the same key. So. I would encourage you now, if you're able to, please check out the artwork here on the table, as well as the entry here. We need about 5 minutes to get the chorus on the risers and a little warmed up and ready to go. And we're going to be right back with you. Thank you so much. Another big hand for the concert band. Welcome.
some of the art.
I don't know. I was gonna just zoom in on some of those kids, but they left before. Yeah, there's really no. I don't have a folder to hold on to. I think they're really good. I was gonna do that, but I think I don't have a camera.
plan for it until at the moment, and then it made sense to me. You know, the contraband is has such a large range of dynamics that it can control. When you have everything, we had moments where we only had a handful of clarinets playing with a vibraphone and bells, and then everybody, and it was like, and that's so huge. And sometimes we can get used to that, those sounds, especially in a world where everything is amplified, and we put headphones on, and we like to hear everything louder, and there's a lot of things going on, so turn it up so I can hear it louder. And then we do choral music, and much of what we do is not intended to be like that. I mean, it's intended to be really much more reflective and introspective, and to really draw us much more intimately closer. And so, intentionally, I'm not using the microphone, so you can kind of get used to like listening to just the sound of my voice alone, and then go like, oh, there's 43 voices together. That's definitely sounding different. So we're going to do. I put a rather long list on the program. Don't worry. We're only doing 5 songs from that list, but to give you a sense of just some of what we've done this semester already with this ensemble. And there's even more. They're really growing, they're developing, they're making great strides, and we've talked a lot also about not just the music, but engaging with the music, engaging each other, engaging themselves in what we're doing. And so they've just been a joy to work with most of the time. So, so we really appreciate it. The first song I'm going to do is called A Festive Noel. picture them as that as a little baby and rocking in the cradle and singing the lullaby to them. And so, trying to get them to capture the essence of that kind of influence. A little different song with the baby. This is called Come and See the Baby. Very energetic, rhythmic piece in a gospel setting, spiritual setting. And this is going to feature a Destiny solo by Katie Briggs. Come and See the Baby.
Won't you come and see the baby? Come and see the baby. Come and see the baby born in Bethlehem. Oh, won't you come and see the baby? Come and see the baby. Come and see the baby born in Bethlehem. The shepherds were tending their flocks on that night when angels appeared and said, "Go and find the light shining bright." Oh, won't you come and see the baby? Come and see the baby. Come and see the baby born in Bethlehem. Oh, won't you come and see the baby? Come and see the baby. The star shone light towards the place where he lived. The baby in a stable was sleeping in the hay. Born today, so won't you come? Angels sing of peace on earth. Oh, won't you come? Shepherds celebrate the birth. Oh, won't you come? Boys, then bring your gifts for him and go to Bethlehem. Oh, won't you come and see the baby? Come and see the baby. Come and see the baby born in Bethlehem. Oh, won't you come and see the baby? Come and see the baby. Come and see the baby born in Bethlehem. Oh, won't you come and see the baby? Come and see the baby. Come and see the baby born in Bethlehem. Oh, won't you come and see the baby? Come and see the baby. Come and see the baby born in Bethlehem. Come and see the baby born in
This composition by Victor Johnson, Stars I Shall Find. Beautiful harmonies, beautiful melodies. The structure of the chords are so colorful and vibrant. I really hope you enjoy it. I told the students of all the songs we've done this semester so far, this really is my favorite from a musicality standpoint. It has so much to offer. The students are doing such a good job. By far, it's the most challenging piece they've done as well, with lots of 4- and 5-part harmonies and lots of range as well as pieces. This is Victor Johnson's Stars I Shall Find. concert as a whole, but also a couple of things. Immediately following this, everybody is welcome to go right outside to the front campus. There'll be a tree lighting with hot cocoa and some goodies, and a little bit of singing and tree lighting on the front campus. So you're all welcome to join in that. Sponsored by the Kindness Group. And also a reminder to all the students, 7:30 tomorrow morning, you need to meet here. Move all this back to the music room. Okay? So rather than tonight, so we can go inside and enjoy the tree lighting, we do that first thing in the morning at 7:30, right? Right. More students are like, what? All you got here without me. So 7:30, I'll get it back. We're going to conclude with a little medley of carols. Sandwiched in the middle is Silent Night. This is the 200th anniversary of the writing of Silent Night. Franz Gruber composed it in 1818, and it was originally composed, he originally wrote it for two voices and guitar accompaniment. If I thought ahead, I could have Miss Bundy accompany us on guitar, but I didn't, so now just entering my mind. But that's sandwiched in between Joy to the World, Silent Night, and then finishing with Angels We Have Heard on High. So, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Thank you so much for encouraging and supporting these students and all that they do. It's so greatly appreciated. I appreciate it so much as well. And they're just so wonderful to work with. It really is truly a pleasure and a blessing for me. So, thank you so much. This is our final selection method. Oh, so yes, oh yes. See, stuff on the board, they remember. So, if I could have the students that earned a place in the KV Senior Honors Choir, please raise your hand up nice and tall so you can be recognized. Regarding Dylan, could I have Isabel Grignan and Tabor Briggs and Lauren Lancaster raise your hand? Oh, they're actually standing right next to you. I didn't tell you what they did yet. But they cheated on their, no, so, these three students also were selected through their auditions and their preparation for Maine's All-State Choir, SSAA Treble Choir. So congratulations to them.
Thank you.